Hi friends, welcome back to Grow with Anna. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to talk all about why it is you may be sabotaging yourself. I am so excited about bringing you this information because it has been game-changing for me, just understanding my mind and where it is that I go whenever a challenging situation comes about and how I may be sabotaging myself. We have been talking a lot about this in our group coaching community, and also it is something that a mentor has brought to my attention, and it's pretty much based off of this book right here. We'll dive into it a little bit more, but this is Positive Intelligence, and it says why only 20% of teams and individuals achieve their true potential. And it really comes down to how and why it is that you sabotage yourself. So today's conversation is going to be juicy. It's going to be uncomfortable. You may sweat a little bit. I may sweat a little bit, but it's a necessary conversation to have when we're looking at ourselves and we're wondering why we're not able to grow into the next level that we may want to grow into. So anyways, here we go. When it comes to us sabotaging ourselves, a lot of times we can so quickly just say, oh yeah, like I don't know why I'm sabotaging myself. I don't know why I'm doing this. And I think we can all resonate a little bit with like, I don't know why I procrastinate. I don't know why I'm just avoiding this. I know what I'm supposed to do. How come I'm just not doing it? Though that's valid, there are reasons why that comes about. And what this book covers, and also a quiz that I want you guys to take if you're interested in this. If you go to positiveintelligence.com, and I'll also leave it down below, you can take a quiz and you can see how you rank in your different saboteurs. So all in all, it gives you names for them, which is really helpful because whenever I tend to give something a name or I give something a face, like fear or anger or something like that, there's no resistance to meeting it. I can meet it like a lot more personable and kind of look at it as like, okay, you're not a part of me, but I still see you, creating that relationship with it. So what these saboteurs, these pesky little things come up as and show up as are these different things. So we all have something called the judge. We all have this. This is like forefront. In the book, they call it like the master judge or something like that. And then we have 9 different saboteurs that fall underneath that umbrella. So we have the avoider, we have the controller, we have the hyperachiever, the one who's hyper-rational, the one who's hyper-vigilant, the pleaser, it's like people pleaser, the one who's restless, the stickler, and the victim. Already just saying that, who feels called out? Because dang. So what I want to do is get into these a little bit more. I have my notes here and I'm going to read them off for you. I want to tell you first and foremost what each of those mean, like how do they show up? And then I want to give you really tangible information based off of like how this shows up for me. And I'm willing to be the guinea pig here. I'm willing to tell you how this shows up for me in my life and how like I've just really done some digging on it to understand it more. And I'm willing to be that for you because we need to have this conversation. I am so for the person who wants to grow and the person that is on a journey of self-discovery, and we cannot move forward in that if we do not address this pretty much first. So first and foremost, take my notes, we have the avoider. The avoider is focusing on the positive and pleasant in an extreme way, avoiding difficult and unpleasant tasks and conflicts. BT dubs, this is my highest one, okay? I am straight up avoider. I'm like, something's hard, no. Conflict, no. Like, get me away from it. I don't want to think about it. I don't even want to look at it. Don't come to me with it. Then we have the controller. It's anxiety-based, needs to take charge and control situations and people's actions to one's own will. Has high anxiety and impatience when that's not possible. Hyperachiever. Dependent on constant performance and achievement for self-respect and validation. Highly focused on external success, leading to unsustainable workaholic tendencies and loss of touch with deeper emotional and relationship needs. Dang. That one hurts. It's like any of these that are you're just like, ugh, knife to your chest. This hurts so bad, but again, it's uncomfortable. We need to have this conversation. Hyper-rational, intense and exclusive focus on the rational processing of everything, including relationships. Everything needs to make sense. Just like, let's be rational about this. Let's take a step back. Hyper-vigilant, again, in my top 3, top 4. This is top 2, actually. Continuous, intense anxiety about all the dangers and what could go wrong. Vigilance that can never rest. Constantly anxious about any little thing. It shows up hard for me. Pleaser, also me. Indirectly tries to gain acceptance and affection by helping, pleasing, rescuing, or flattering others. Loses sight of own needs and becomes resentful as a result. It's so stupid. Like, you literally do it to yourself, but it's your saboteur. It's like, until you decide to confront it, it runs you. And this whole video is about not letting it run you. Restless. Constantly in search of greater excitement in the next activity or constant busyness. Rarely at peace or content with the current activity. This is like almost in the top 4 for me. Stickler. Perfectionism and a need for order and organization taken too far. This is a lot of people in my life. And victim. Also me. Emotional and temperamental as a way to gain attention and affection. An extreme focus on internal feelings, particularly painful ones. Martyr streak. Like, oh, woe is me. It's so annoying to be called out. So these are the 9. Now, I want to really quickly go over the judge because, again, the judge is everyone at some point, and you really gotta break out of some conditioning with this one. But here's the judge, and I'm gonna go into more depth with this. So the judge finds faults with self, others, and circumstances, causes much of our disappointment, anger, regret, guilt, shame, and anxiety, activates accomplice saboteurs. So this is the master judge. It activates all the 9 other ones that I just listed off. Now, the characteristics of the judge. For the self, badgers self for past mistakes or current shortcomings. How often do we do this? Like, oh, I didn't do that right. I didn't put out this funnel correctly. I didn't make as much money as I thought I was going to. Oh my God, I didn't keep my promise to myself again. I didn't do the workout that I said that I was gonna do. Oh, but it's Monday, so I can't do it again until next Monday. Like, it's so dumb, but this is where we go. This is where we go here. Others. So on others, focuses on what is wrong with others rather than appreciating the good things about them. Gets into inferior and superior comparisons. This was hot for me when I was like really in network marketing, because essentially you're all doing the same thing. So why is she getting success and I'm not? If I'm doing the same thing as she is. If there's a template made, I'm saying the same things, I'm selling the same product. Why is she having success and not me? Where am I coming in from judgment? Whereas she's like, I don't give a fuck. She's doing her own thing. Her energy is right. right? Like, I want you to drop it in the comments like, oh my gosh, this is me. If you really are resonating with this. And I haven't even called you all the way out yet, okay? So circumstances. Insists a circumstance or outcome is bad rather than seeing it as a gift or an opportunity. And this is where a lot of my mindset has changed now. It's like, if I fail at something, that's a lesson. Whereas if I failed at something before, it's like, shame on you. Like, you're terrible. You're a horrible person. This means X, Y, Z about you. It has nothing to do about me. It's just like me as a person. It's just something that happened. It's an event that took place. Here's how I can course correct, and here's how I'm gonna do it better next time. But it takes a certain level of a mindset shift in order to get there. So I really want you to take that in, and I actually want to ask you right now to just pause this video and ask yourself, where have I been judging myself in the last 24 hours? Where have I been judging other people? Where have I been judging circumstances? Like, oh, if I just didn't have this job, then I'd be able to, do what I'm really passionate about, launch my YouTube, do whatever. Where have you been judging all of that in the last 24 hours? And then I want you to take a step further. Who have you felt judged from in the last 24 hours? And then do your best to kind of change up that relationship. And I don't mean get rid of them. I mean, like, let's put some boundaries up. So the thoughts of the judge: what is wrong with me? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with my circumstances or this outcome? So if you've asked yourself those questions, your judge is like activated. The feelings of the judge: all guilt, regret, shame, and disappointment are from the judge. Much of anger and anxiety is instigated by the judge. And now what's really cool is that in the book, they also show like where the justification lies. Like, I'm justified here. I'm right here. You can't tell me otherwise. So justification lies for the judge: without me pushing you, you will get lazy and complacent. Without me punishing you for your mistakes, you will not learn from them, and then you'll repeat them. The judge is shady. Without me scaring you about bad future outcomes, you will not work hard to prevent them. This is the judge telling you in your little head, like, yeah, without me, this is what's gonna happen to you. It's like a freaking infestation in your mind. It's horrible. Without me judging others, you will lose your objectivity and not protect your self-interest. Without me making you feel bad about negative outcomes, you won't do anything to change them. And the impact that you have on yourself and others with the judge is the master saboteur and the original cause of much of our anxiety, distress, and suffering. It's also the cause of many relationship conflicts. If you're not talking about these very real things in the relationship, not just an intimate relationship, all relationships with your parents, your siblings, your friends, your coworkers, the relationship with yourself, if you're not talking about real shit like this, these constant judgments are gonna keep living on. These constant ways that you sabotage yourself are gonna keep living on. You have to do something about it. You have to change it. So that's a little bit about the judge and all the other saboteurs. Again, go to positiveintelligence.com and I'll leave it in the bottom bar for you so that you could take it. But really, if you just do that alone, you will look at your life through a completely different lens. You could end this video right here, not even know or understand a little bit more about my personal journey with it, and you would still benefit from it if you really dove deep into it. But for context, and again, to be the guinea pig for you, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, how this has shown up in my life. So my top saboteurs, and I did top 4 because my top 2 are tied for first place. So love that for me. It's hypervigilant and avoider, and tied for top number 1. Then pleaser and victim. For me, what I really want to go into and what I want to talk about is how this kind of stemmed from, because everything is unfortunately stemmed from your childhood. just is, because that's when you start learning how to be in the world. And our saboteurs, they come to us. Essentially what's happening here is you build up these saboteurs in a way to ask yourself, like, how do I need to show up in order to receive love? How do I need to show up in order to feel accepted? How do I need to show up to feel validated, just seen overall and recognized? Who do I need to be to fit into this room? Who do I need to be to fit in with my family? Who do I need to be to fit in with my friend group? And all of a sudden you're changing and morphing into all these different ways, and really it's not even you. And then what happens is this ends up being such a just habit of yours and a clear part of you that you take it on as part of you. And what we're trying to do is realize, like, okay, great, like, thanks, now you're a part of me, you got me this far, but now I kind of want to take the driver's seat, and I want to be in control of how I'm showing up in relationship and how I'm being and accepted into rooms, no matter what other people believe, but because I am who I am. Does that make sense? So I want to talk a little bit about original survival functions. Now, the one that really hit me is avoider, but I'm going to talk about hypervigilant just a little bit because these, again, are my top two. So the hypervigilant, the original survival function, and what that means, again, it's who do I need to be in order to be loved? How do I need to be in order to be loved? So the hypervigilant often comes from early experiences where the source of safety and security, so a parental figure, was unpredictable and unreliable. It could also result when painful, unexpected events proved life to be threatening or unreliable. So I'm not here to drag my parents, or I'm not here to put out my family business out there, none whatsoever. However, I do strongly believe that if I'm not having this conversation with you, as uncomfortable as it is, who are you going to learn it from? And I want, again, I say this often, I want this YouTube channel, this little corner of our internet, I want it to be somewhere where you can come and learn as a free resource to grow yourself. And I am willing to be uncomfortable in this conversation if that means that you get to grow too, and if that means that you get to now go have the conversation with your family, with your friends, with your network of people, and talk about the shit that actually matters, which is something like this. So again, without like putting my family's business out there, we all as people come from a family, and we all deal with a specific set of problems. It just is what it is. There are too many people in a family unit for everything to be perfect and like butterflies and rainbows and all of that. We all come from something. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying that my childhood was bad or anything like that, but there are certain things that happened that was like, maybe that could have been handled a little bit differently. If they were a little bit more self-aware, maybe, we wouldn't have had to, we as in my siblings, wouldn't have had to see certain things or like hear certain things or anything like that. So in the hypervigilant case, source of safety and security, so a parental figure, was unpredictable and unreliable. To be honest, yeah, we kind of grew up like that. Even for me, I didn't really, because I was very young, so I didn't really understand my dad's work schedule. Like he worked at juvenile hall, I knew that. He worked in San Francisco, that was like far away when I was young. It was like 30 minutes away, crossing a whole bridge, and he worked interesting hours. I don't know if at that point he was in school or doing something else. I don't even remember, but unpredictable meaning I didn't even know when he was going to be home. I didn't even know, my mom was home all the time because she would work from home, or like she had businesses of her own where she was able to do that. And it was very unpredictable when my dad would be there, or if he was out with friends or, doing whatever. I didn't know that kind of time frame. And that can be very, like a bumpy ride for a young kid. As a kid, you expect your parents to be there all the time. And I remember not really feeling like he was there all the time. Then going into avoider, and this is the one that's like, it solidified itself when I had a conversation with my brother recently. So the original survival function for the avoider could rise from either a both happy or a difficult childhood. In a happy childhood, one might not have learned the resiliency of dealing with difficult emotions. In a childhood of high conflict and tension, the avoider might come into play peacemaker and learn to not add any negativity or tension of one's own top of the existing family tensions. This is huge for me. So I'm kind of on both sides here. I did have a very happy childhood, and I'm grateful and I'm lucky enough to have grown up in a way where I didn't really have to worry about much. I am so thankful for that. However, I did not get taught resiliency. I did not get taught like, okay, go out and make your own money. I come from a family of entrepreneurs and successful at that. And my parents my dad coming to this country, that was his dream, to make sure that his kids didn't have to worry, to make sure that we didn't grow up like he did. You know, again, not saying that his childhood was terrible, but he grew up in another country and he came here and he made his American dream a reality. And I didn't get to learn failure because of that, really. And you might be looking at me and you're like, this bitch, like she's really talking about like not being able to fail. But this obviously causes something in your life, a sabotaging habit, like avoiding things because of it. And then you wonder why, this wasn't me, but like you wonder why you're in school with the girl who decides, like you're in a group project and she's not going to do anything because you got it. I'm good. I'll take the A, but you'll do it. Oh my gosh, I could talk about this stuff forever, but this is why it's so important to be so self-aware and learn things like this, because then you could pass this on to your kids and you could teach them things of like, okay, this is how people may be behaving. This is why they may be this, way, XYZ. So on the other hand of not building resiliency, there was also high conflict, a lot of it in my childhood. And I know my parents watched my videos, and so I'm not gonna even if they didn't, I wouldn't air out a whole bunch of stuff. But again, every family goes through their own shit. And there was a lot of tension built up at times. And my brothers would say the same. And I didn't know how to be in those situations except just like that freaking Simpson gif, just like go into the bushes, or also playing peacemaker, just be like, everyone calm down, like everything's okay, everything's gonna be fine, let's ground again, let's, why are we here? And what's really like becoming a thought of mine is like, I have to be that way so that I keep harmony in the home, when that's not my job. It's just not. And so how can that translate into later in my life? I procrastinate. I wait until the last freaking second to type up an 11-page essay that's due tomorrow. I procrastinate on doing the things that feel right for my body. I procrastinate on the workout, on the nutrition, on the whatever. I avoid everything. I'm in a supervisor role with my family business. Conflict comes up, you guys take care of it. That's not normal. It's just not. And I wish I knew these things. I wish I knew these tools before so that I didn't have to. I probably would have gone through that anyway, but then I wouldn't have to think to myself, what's wrong with me? Why am I this way? Why can't I get it right? Why can't I reach the next level in my business? Why can't I do, whatever it is? Why am I avoiding it? I know what to do. Why am I not looking at it? Why am I not looking at the budget? Why am I avoiding that my finances are a wreck? Oh shit, I'm in debt again? Oops. Avoid it. It's gonna correct itself. It's sick. And you have the opportunity and the chance, and I hope you have the willingness to change it. And so how do you change it is what I will so lovingly call you into. So we just got done with a 4-week program called The Redirect. And it's all about taking these saboteurs and taking these thoughts, and then they stop right here. Imagine like a big old stop sign, and you have a chance to redirect them to where they're supposed to go and replace them with another thought. And so that was a 4-week course. It's done, but still available. You just won't be on for the live calls, but it's all recorded anyway. And you can take that, or what's really cool is the Redirect is part of a bigger program called Essence. And Essence is all about the self-discovery of you. It is a safe space for you to grow and learn about yourself in community. And so whichever one of those you feel called to learn more about, I will leave everything you need to know in the description box down below. And I really just appreciate you hanging out with me and listening to me talk about all my shadows, horrible mistakes, and all my sabotaging behavior. But again, it needs to happen. These kinds of conversations need to be talked about a lot more. And if you don't know how to bring up these conversations for yourself, play this video for your parents. Send this video to your siblings. Just share it with a friend if you know that they're struggling. This is, again, just such a safe place for your growth, and I am so here for it. So anyways, if you need a little bit more guidance on that, check out those resources, or you can DM me on Instagram at GrowWithAna, and I would be more than happy to talk about this with you and kind of take you through this process with your own journey. So until then, here we grow. Bye.